Good afternoon, friends. Once again, it's Prashant Ajmera going live on the YouTube channel of Ajmera Law Group. We are doing, as you know, that as I mentioned day before yesterday, we are doing the 10 episodes of the study in Canada and settlement. So, in that respect, today is our second day for the study in Canada and settlement or immigration to Canada. What we're going to do in this 10 episodes, that we're going to every day for half and 20 minutes to 25 minutes, maximum up to half an hour. We're going to talk about the immigration rules and regulations of each and every province of Canada individually and separately. So we're going to create a whole series on this, study in Canada and immigration to Canada. So in that respect, I'll start my today's talk with respect to the Canadian federal program. So, as you know, that in Canada there are 10 provinces, and in those 10 provinces, you have and a federal immigration rule is there as well. So, when you have a federal immigration rule, which is like our central government in India, and then the provincial government is about 10 provinces are there and 3 territories. So each and every province has their own separate immigration program. When you are looking at these separate immigration programs, they have a separate rules and regulations because these provinces has made an agreement with the government of Canada that they have a shortage of people, and that's why they would like to invite the immigrants to their particular province as well. But today we're going to talk about the federal immigration of Canada because altogether, if you put all these programs together, in Canada there are more than uh, 50 programs are there to immigrate to Canada. So today we're going to talk about the federal government or the government of Canada's straightaway immigration programs are there. Because if you look at the immigration policies, it's always divided into two parts: non-immigrant visa and immigrant visa. And then immigrant visas are also divided into two parts in Canada. One is the federal programs and others are the provincial program. So today we're going to talk about the federal programs of Canada. And in that one of the most popular one program is the express entry, which was known as a skilled worker or professional immigration category, which started in way back in 1986, 87. Over the period of time, it changed into the various phases. Uh, in 1993, in October 1993, that was the first time the government of Canada introduced the occupation list based immigration to Canada without a job offer. And that one went on till 2008. And in 2008, it was changed to the no occupation based demand list. And in 2015, it was made into online means entry, which is now popularly known as an express entry. In express entry, also you have two subcategories because after you look at these express entry categories, then you have another category is known as Canada experience class. So people who are already in Canada for student visas or on a work permit, and if they wish to convert into immigrations, then they are known as a Canadian experience class. Then the third category is known as the the semi-skilled workers. There is a special category created for them under the express entry that if you are certain type of trade persons, like you are a mechanic, you are a cook, you are a diesel mechanic, you are CNC machinist. If you are holding this kind of an occupation, then also there is a possibility to do an immigration under that category. After that, there are two other good programs are there directly for an immigration to Canada, which is owner-operated business program, which is introduced only in 2018. And the fifth program, which I consider is directly to the Canadian government, is the startup visa program. For the startup visa programs, I'm very happy to announce that the former immigration minister of Canada has now joined a hand with us with our law firm Ajmera Law Group, and we will be doing a live seminar on the startup visas. Directly, the ex-immigration minister of Canada is going to do these presentations probably in 2 weeks' time. We will coordinate everything, and it will we will let you know this one. So let's look at the express entry program, which is very known and very popular, so I will not go into the more detail. But as you know that once you register for your immigration, you need two basic documents with you. You need a minimum of an IELTS test of 6 band in each, and second one you need is your assessment of qualifications. There are 4 or 5 different government approved agencies are there who will do the assessment of qualifications to confirm that whether your qualification is recognized or not recognized. If it is recognized, whether it's a bachelor's degree, master's degree, diploma, double bachelor's, or PhD. So these are the 5 different categories in which your qualification can be recognized. They do not take into the considerations if you've done private courses with some institutes, or if you've done PGDBM or post-graduation diploma into any subjects. It's only the university education which is recognized, and also the polytechnic education is recognized. Anything else, if you have done it, it's not recognized. Number 2, in the express entry, you have to keep it in mind that you need a minimum 1 year of an experience to make your applications. So what is the minimum requirement and what is the passing requirement? There is a big difference between the minimum requirement and passing requirement. Why I am mentioning the minimum requirement? Because based on this minimum requirement, most of the immigration visa consultants and agent will take your file because they can submit your file. But they know it very well, probably you don't know, that this file is never going to get approved or never going to reach to the passing points. And then your file is waiting in a line for a 1 year, and after 1 year, your file is removed from the government website. So the education requirement is a bachelor's degree, 6 band in each in IELTS. You have at least 1 year of an experience. After that, your age is preferably under the age of 29. And then the other points are there with respect to whether you have a relative there or not, whether your spouse is educated, what is her or his English requirement, whether you have worked in Canada, whether you have close relatives, or if you have owned a business or something like that. That I'll talk in my owners operated category. So with this 6 or 7 criteria, the points are given based on total points. To make an entry or to register your file, you need to show that you have made 67 points out of 100, which was an old point system was there before the 1st January 2015. But after that, once your file is registered, then the government is looking at your files and then give a points as per the new system. And then under the new system, which is an online-based system, it has 2 parts of it. Total 1200 points are there. And under that 1200 points, you have 2 categories. One is that whether you have a job offer or a PNP approved, or the other one is 600 points is given to you for all the criteria which I mentioned to you. Out of that 600 points, if you make a passing points of anything between 470 and up as of now, then you are likely to get your immigration for Canada. You'll get a nomination letters, and based on that, when you have to submit your documents, once you submit your documents, you get your permanent immigrations after medicals. Some of our clients and also many clients are waiting for this immigration for a long period of time. The reason being that many of these people has not received any reply, and the file is waiting in New Delhi. The main reason is this, that the government of Canada find in online systems many problems, particularly with the fraudulent documents, because the original idea of the government of Canada was to basically make the whole system seamless and only online with the minimum human intervention. But when they started doing the checking of the file for the quality control, they realized that in many files they were facing the difficulties with the genuineness of the documents, genuineness of the work experience, and so on and so forth. So in order to investigate this file, the government has put up this file on a hold, and unless and until they investigate this file, probably call the client for an interview, it might take a year and a half, or 2 years period of time. Many people are frustrated with this one, but there is nothing can be done. When the file is put on a hold for security reasons and security concerns, even the port in Canada cannot do anything. So after these federal immigration programs, you have the PNP program, which we will talk tomorrow onwards for each province. So I will not talk about that one. Then you have a Canada Experience class. So Canada Experience class is the people who has gone to Canada for a study purpose or for the purpose of directly work permit. They have received it, and based on that, now they are applying for an immigration. The education requirement is not there, but the similar point system is required, and based on that one, you can obtain the immigration to Canada under the Canada Experience class. Then you have the owner-operated category. This is one of the very good categories which everybody should take into consideration. Many people, those who are in the age group of 35 and plus, they have now small children. Now they are thinking of immigration to Canada. So when they are trying to immigrate to Canada under the express entry, because of their age, they are never going to receive the immigration of Canada. Because, for the very simple reason that their age is so high that out of the 110 points in age, probably they will receive 55 or 60 points. And because of the loss of this point, they are never going to receive the immigration. So these people can look into the owner-operated business category. How does it work? Owner-operated category is, as we talked about in the express entry, that you can obtain a job offer from an employer in Canada to get your 600 additional points and get your direct immigrations. But if you are not in a position to get a job offer, you can come to Canada, you can purchase your own business, and if you are working in your own business on a full-time basis, and if you own have the ownership of the business more than 51%, then you can obtain the immigration of Canada under the owner-operated business category. Under the owner-operated business categories, you wish to see that you have a visitor visa. So what are the minimum requirements of the owner-operated categories? You have a bachelor's degree, you have a 6 band in IELTS, preferably any age between under the 45 would be preferred, number 3. Number 4, you have a visitor visa to Canada. Then you come to Canada and we assist you and look for a business in Canada. Based on this business in Canada, we will obtain an LMI for your own business. Rather than looking for a business for somebody else, in your own business, you can do your LMI, labor market impact analysis. And based on this labor market impact analysis, you get a work permit or a business permit to work in your own business. And once you have worked in your own business for a period of 2 years, you can obtain or apply for an immigration to Canada within the Canada with your family. So husband, wife, and children under the age of 22 all can apply. So this is one of the best category to look at it. The business immigration to Canada, the owner-operated category to Canada, particularly for the small businessmen and the executives, professionals who are highly qualified, good in English, but over the age of 35, and they are not making enough points because they are losing the points in skilled worker grade, then they can apply for these immigrations. We have done a number of cases, and certainly we can assist you in looking for a business in Canada, getting your license, business plan, all those things can be done and arranged for you in Canada. So this is the owner-operated categories what we're talking about. Now, one thing which I forget is in express entry. What is the ideal scenario to get your immigration through straight away? In my opinion, the ideal scenario is that you have a master's degree in India, you have a 3 years of an experience, and your IELTS score is 8,777, 8 in listening, and other 3 are 7, and your age is under the age of 29. If you have this 4 criteria together, I believe that you should not have a difficulty to make a passing points of anything between more than 75, 70, 475 and up. If you have less than that, still there is a possibility, which we will talk when we talk about the Ontario program, whereby if your score is more than 400 but less than 475 or the federal passing points, then there is a possibility that the federal government of Canada can look at your, the Ontario government can look at your program, means your profile, and send you a invitations to apply for an immigration under the Ontario PNP program. So that's the second program we talked about, the Federal Express Entry. Then the second one is the Ontario, means the owner-operated category. And then now the last category we're going to talk about is a startup visa. Under the startup visa, which is a fastest and the best program available in Canada to apply for an immigration. How? The startup program started in April 2013. Under this program, the government of Canada wanted to invite the startup company who has a novel ideas, new ideas in IT, in pharmaceuticals, in engineering, or in any area. They can apply to the government of Canada's approved incubation center or designated authority, they call it. And if these designated authorities are interested in validating your idea, that you have a brilliant idea and it is going to be a successful company, and if they give you a letter of authorization or letter of approval, they call it, then you can apply for an immigration of Canada. And with that immigration, within 6 to 8 months, you should be in a position to receive the startup ideas. We have many startups with whom we are working, but also, and when you are applying for a startup idea, what is the minimum requirement? There is no requirement of education. There is only 5 bands in IELTS is required, and you should have a working knowledge of an English, which is basically a 5 band, and you should have a brilliant ideas. And in each one startup company, up to 5 founders or the 5 original people of the company who promoted the startup company can immigrate to Canada. We have many ideas which we can share with you, and based on that one, we might be in a position to help you to take your application under the startup visa program. So get in touch with us if you are interested in the startup visa categories. So these are the basic programs of the Canadian federal immigration program. Once again, I would like to summarize it. Number one is an express entry and the trade workers, express entry, trade workers, and Canadian experience class. And after that, you have an owner-operated category. And the number 5th one is the startup visa program. So these are the 5 rules and regulations under which you can apply directly for an immigration of Canada. After that, it all comes to the provincial programs. So we're going to tomorrow talk about the British Columbia programs, and under the British Columbia program, we're going to look at it that what are the, if you study in British Columbia, how you can convert it to the immigration. And if you want to study in British Columbia, which programs or which course you should take and which university you should go to. Number 2, if you have finished your studying there, then how you can apply for an immigration under the British Columbia PNP program, or you have a job offer and you can apply directly for PNP programs and the PNP business immigration program. So we're going to look at all these categories of British Columbia tomorrow. Most important things which I'm going to mention in each and every one of my program is about the certain basic things when you want to study abroad, particularly into Canada. Remember, college is not an university. If you are getting an admission, it's not a college. Post-graduation diploma is not a master's program. It's a university who can give you a master's. There is a big difference between an agent and immigration lawyer. There is a difference between the study abroad, means the college program, and a university program. And remember, student visa is not the only way to settle in Canada. Student visa is the most expensive way to settle in Canada. One should look into the other program and other option, but people are in so much hurry that they want to go as soon as they finish their education after 12th or a bachelor's, and they want to run And this is where the agent and consultants are taking your advantage and giving you a bad advice, and you're making a bad decision. You want to run from India, and that's the reason these so many agents are coming up with the flashy office on every day. My advice would be student visa should be considered only as a last option. Why? Let me give you just one example before I finish. Say, for example, you have a 4 years of bachelor's degree and you want to immigrate to Canada today. So you got an admission into a college, into a particular college in Canada. You got the admission in for a 2 years program, so you're going to get a 3 years of work permit, right? So basically, you have now probably possibility to stay 5 years in Canada. So you studied for 2 years in Canada, 3 years of work permit, and now you are in 2020. So basically, in 2025, you will finish your 3 years of work experience. Probably after 1 or 2 years of an experience, you can apply for an immigration within Canada under the Canada Experience class, and you will obtain your immigration probably by 26 or 27. You will get your immigration into Canada, right? So let's see what has happened in this 6 or 7 years period of time. Probably you have gone from here and as a mechanical engineer. So let's take an example of mechanical engineer. You got an admission into a college which says post-graduation diploma in mechanical engineering. Okay, good. It's related to your field. Many a time students are not studying into the related field. So now what happens? That you are not studying into a related field. So you wasted your 4 years of your life here in India. You studied for 2 years in Canada, which is not related to your mechanical engineering. Now you're trying to look for a job for a 3 years, and you are not getting a job related to your mechanical engineering because you don't know whether you want to do a management or you want to do this. So now you're going to look for a sponsors to find you a job. Probably you want to go to a Saskatchewan or Manitobas or other remote provinces. Probably try to find a job sponsors into a Dunkin' Donuts or into Subways or some other stores. Nothing to do with the mechanical engineers, nothing to do with the educations you have done in Canada, but you just want an immigration and then you want it. So after 7 or 6 or 7 years or 8 years, you might get your immigration. Whereas if you have a bachelor's degree and if you are good in bachelor's degree in engineering and if you are good in English, my advice would be to do a master's in India and then have a 3 years of an experience. During this time, try to improve your English as much as you can. If you have improved your English very well, and if you are in a position to get 8 and 777 in IELTS band, you can get a direct immigration from India to Canada. So that is also taking a 6 or 7 years period of time while waiting in India, going to Canada and study, and then working there, and then getting an immigrations without a proper education, unrelated educations you are doing it, it's also taking a 6 or 7 years. Now, in studying in Canada, you have already wasted probably for 2 years of an education, you wasted $30,000 in a fees, plus the other amounts and expenses and everything. So we are looking about $60,000 to $70,000 you have wasted, which is about 35 to 40 lakh rupees. Compared to that, if you would have stayed in India and done your masters, and if you have done your education and improve your English and then trying to obtain the immigration into Canada, it would have cost you probably less than 5 to 7 lakh rupees. So what you want to do it? Do you want to spend 35, 40 lakh rupees and go to Canada and study some irrelevant programs, and you want to study something which is not connected to your education because you want to you are desperate to go abroad? No. So again, my advice would be that if you really wish to go immediately, do not in a hurry to go to these colleges. Do not go to these colleges. Only go for a university program if you have a bachelor's degree. The colleges should be considered for going to Canada as a last resort, that you have nothing available and you cannot do anything in foreseeable time. Then only you should consider to going to these colleges Otherwise, you should consider only first preference should be university, whether it's a top university, A grade university, B grade, C grade, doesn't matter. Ultimately, university is a university. That's the most recognized program is there. So you should consider that only and not any colleges. The colleges are not there to make your life. Do not use the colleges to get into Canada as a way to enter into Canada. It's not one of the best options available. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for your time. Tomorrow, I'm going to come back and talk about all the rules and regulations about the British Columbia. Thank you. See you tomorrow at 11:30 on YouTube. Thank you. And please do not forget to subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions or anything, please send it to us. You can send any feedback on our YouTube channel as well. We are also on social medias in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And all these video will be posted on those channel as well. So you can look at it afterward as well. Share with your friends and relatives, whoever needs it. Please advise your friends and relatives and ask me to join for this Canadian immigration Parayan for 10 days. Thank you very much. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.